Welcome to the Panic Button. I'm Nina.
I'm Jessie.
And today we're reacting to Bill Maher connecting the dots. Finally.
And finally, new rule. As one of the few people in the public eye who's gone through life and never had kids, someone has to tell me, why am I always having to defend them? I don't even like kids. But I also think it's every adult's job to protect them. Have you all been watching the Max documentary called Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV? OMG. Nickelodeon, it wasn't a studio, it was Neverland Ranch with craft services. It is just scene after scene, clip after clip of the child stars of their day being subjected to obviously inappropriate, highly sexualized degradation and quite a few pickles going through glory holes.
That's what we were watching this. I was saying, this is like everything I watched growing up. A lot of those clips were from like my time of watching Nickelodeon. Some from yours, but a lot from mine. And it's crazy because you got to realize like all these Gen Zers, everyone who's like screaming, yeah, let kids transition. That's what they grew up watching too.
It's all starting to make sense now.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what's in their head too. So they're like, this is normal. This is fine. This is fun for kids.
Yeah, over-sexualizing children is definitely normal.
They're like, oh no, these poor kids. But like that show was hilarious though. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what they grew up with. And so it's no wonder to me that they're sitting there and half of them are split between it's horrible and whatever.
When I was a kid, I don't remember ever watching stuff like this. This was more when I was not late teen, like probably like 15.
That's about when
13, 15. But when I was a little kid, I was watching like The Elephant Show, Fred Penner, Mr. Dress-Up, Lamb Chop, Muppet Babies, X-Men.
3 of the shows that were just shown there, you had iCarly, Victorious, and Zoe 101.
Yeah.
Zoe 101 was when I was much younger. I used to watch it with my older sister. She's 6 years older, so like that's understandable why I'd see that. But iCarly and Victorious came out around the same time, and I would have been like 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, point.
They're for preteens, early teens shows. It's still not something you should be showing kids because it plays on the TV, like the same channel.
Yeah, I think a pickle through a glory hole is
where we stopped
giving the wrong impression here.
Where we stopped it is a perfect example of why this was so bad.
Or maybe that's the impression he was trying to give. Probably.
I was grossed out and I've gone camping with John Waters. I kid you, John, I love you. So I don't know if this documentary is the talk of your town, but it is out here because it didn't just expose a dangerous workplace, it also exposed hypocrisy. Because it must be pointed out that when the evil governor of Florida was saying the exact same thing about kids and creepy stuff at Disney that liberals now find intolerable at Nickelodeon, he was dismissed as a hick and a bigot. But why would a kids' content factory like Disney be all that different than the one at Nickelodeon? A 2014 CNN report discovered that at least 35 Disney employees had been arrested for sex crimes against children, and in 2021, Disney child star Allison Stoner confessed she only narrowly survived the toddler to train wreck pipeline. The next year, child star Cole Sprouse told the New York Times that young actresses at the Disney Channel were heavily sexualized from an early age.
I think it's great to see Bill Maher admit that a Republican was right about something, because it's something you so rarely see these days, and that's exactly the point he's talking about, is that just because he identifies with a different political group doesn't mean that you're going to just completely dismiss everything he says, because there may be truth still in what he says, despite your disagreement in politics.
You know, Willie Sutton said he robbed banks because that's where the money is, and the reason we find pedophiles in the Boy Scouts and the Rectory and kids' TV is that's where the kids are. DeSantis wasn't wrong. But we're so tribal now, the left will overlook child fucking if the guy from the wrong party calls it out. Sure, Nickelodeon messed up Amanda Bynes, but the Mickey Mouse Club was where Britney Spears got her start, and she's perfectly fine.
Poor Dances with Knives.
Leave Britney alone!
And get this, after Brian Peck, who was one of the lead creeps at Nickelodeon, served 16 months in prison for the molesting he did there, Disney hired him, naturally to work on a children's series. Oh, for pedophiles in Hollywood, it's a small world after all. And not just Hollywood. There are Instagram moms these days who are practically only fansing their itty-bitty beauty queen daughters by having them wear skimpy bikinis and eat bananas to build social...
Isn't that the saddest thing you've ever seen?
The little girl beauty pageants always creeped me out. The adult men who would go and watch, that creeped me out a lot.
To cake a kid in makeup and be like, now you're pretty. To make a kid go through the exact same standards as they would in Hollywood, but just for a couple pictures for guys to watch on fucking Instagram. Disgusting.
Well, their moms are doing it.
Yeah, it's not the kids that are disgusting. They don't know what they're doing.
...media stardom. They're called sharenters, a hybrid of sharing and parent. I call them pimps, a hybrid of pimp and And people who believe in social justice have agreed this is wrong and this is bad, and exposing kids to an adult world of lurid costumes and garish makeup borders on abuse. Now, hurry up and get in the car. We're late for Drag Queen Story Hour. Not that there's anything wrong with being a drag queen, but maybe it's time to admit that sometimes Drag Queen Story Hour is more for the queen than the kids. Sure, kids love a clown, but does the clown have to have tits? And when I see a 5-year-old tipping at a bar under a sign that says it's not gonna lick itself, do I have to pretend that's cool in order to keep my liberal ID card? If you want kids to be more tolerant, why not have handicapped people read them stories? Kids are more likely to encounter disabled people than drag queens in life. I've said it before, wokeness is not an extension of liberalism anymore. It's more often taking something so far that it becomes the opposite. At a certain point, inclusion becomes promotion. And contrary to current progressive dogma, children aren't miniature adults wise beyond their years. They're morons.
Morons. Like the furries in the middle school that we saw, where the kids decided to protest because they were running around on all fours, scratching, biting, and jumping on them.
Kids might have one or two good things to say, but it's not because they're wise, it's because they're learning. And when you're learning, you have a little bit of, like, insight, you know? So maybe a kid's like, man, that's stupid, and you're like, oh my God, that kid's so right. Doesn't mean that kids are smart, it just means that he made a good call on one thing, you know what I mean?
When your kid is in class and he raises his paw so he can use the litter box in his bathroom.
Yeah, that kid got no wisdom.
I don't think he's going to be ready for the real world anytime soon. Skid Row, San Francisco, definitely, but nowhere else in the world.
I will say that at least the kids that are standing up and speaking out about it are a positive outlook for our future, because those are these are children who are deciding to stand up and speak out about it. So hopefully they'll be those types of adults.
They're gullible morons who'll believe anything and just want to please grown-ups. And they don't have any frame of reference, so they normalize whatever's happening. That's why endlessly talking about gender to 6-year-olds isn't just inappropriate. It's what the law would call entrapment, which means enticing people into doing something they wouldn't ordinarily do. For example, after 9/11, there were several cases of overzealous federal agents leading sad losers into terrorist plots, like the undercover FBI agent who got 7 out-of-work dudes in Liberty City, Florida, to sign on to a plot to bomb the Sears Tower in Chicago. Oh, please, these guys didn't even have a gun. But when someone said, wouldn't it be cool if we taught the man a lesson and blew something up? They said, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Entrapment. Suggesting someone into something they wouldn't otherwise do. And if you think that some of that isn't going on with gender in schools, you're not watching enough TikTok videos.
I think the best word for it is indeed entrapment, because it is a false narrative that you are convincing these children of, and they don't even kind of have the wisdom or the knowledge or the ability to understand to get over it and realize maybe that's not true. I'm glad that someone can use the proper word. That's great. You can continue. I'm not going to stop you.
I pledge allegiance to the queers.
I'm not allowed to be out as trans non-binary at school. My response to this is to be as obnoxiously queer as possible.
These aren't teachers. These are predators. These are people who prey on children and infuse them with this virus called gender ideology, which originated from pedophiles.
But they are teachers. Hang on. It's real important that you don't, because you're like, they're not teachers. They are teachers. And specifically, their main priority is to teach about gender. That's the problem. A teacher's main goal should be to better their students for the world in front of them, not to teach them about gender ideology and confuse the shit out of them. Sorry.
There's a certain kind of activist these days who wants to take heterosexuality, old school, old-fashioned, boring, minding its own business heterosexuality, and lump it in with patriarchy and sexism and racism and tell kids, wouldn't it be cool if you were anything but that? It also seems to be the theme of kind of a lot of kids' books these days. I never used the phrase gay agenda because I thought it was mostly nonsense, and it is, mostly. But a director for Disney television animation did say after she was hired,
the showrunners were super welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness. No one would stop me, and no one was trying to stop me.
This is not a queer person. Anyone who says the word queer, first of all, needs to be thrown in a lunatic asylum.
I was going to say, doesn't that make themselves, from what we've said, queer is just bullshit?
She's bullshit. She's a straight, boring woman who is mentally infected by this crazy shit. Or maybe she's always been mentally ill. I don't know.
You suggested she's straight, and I suggest...
This bitch is not gay, and if she is, I don't accept her. I don't accept her. No.
I suggest she's a lesbian with a trans man.
So she's a straight bitch, like I said before.
No, with a trans man. She's a lesbian.
Right.
Dating
she
a
would
woman.
Think she's a straight bitch. Or would she be queer?
She's queer because
but what's queer?
That's
Quasimodo.
bullshit.
Quasimodo-san.
I wish that bullshit started with a Q.
LGBTB. Bullshit. Any bitch who uses the word queer pisses me off. It drives me crazy. What does that even mean? What happened to lesbian, gay, homo? We're gonna throw some gay shit here, gay shit here, gay shit there. No, it's queer. Now the word is queer. Why? So it can encapsulate all of the crazy son of a bitches out there. Cunts and hoes.
Well,
dickheads and assholes.
What's easier to say, queer, LGBTQI+, Two-Spirit? I
don't identify as queer. I think if you identify as queer, you're a pervert, you're a predator, or you're a pedophile.
I didn't say... I didn't ask what you identify as. We're not playing pronoun games. I said, what's easier to say, queer or LGBTQI+, Two-Spirit?
You know what's easier to say? Gay. Gay.
You know what's easier to say?
The people who don't identify, if they identify as lesbian and then they're using queer everywhere, they're not lesbians. They're straight bitches. Because a lesbian would not use the fucking word queer.
I've never heard a lesbian call herself queer. They usually have a trans
Well, Ariel, I think she does, but, that's another topic for another day.
Okay.
Queer belongs nowhere near us. Because by saying queer, you're erasing gay and lesbians altogether.
I don't know if I...
Are you in a lesbian relationship or a queer relationship with these two bitches?
What? I'm sorry?
If there are two bitches in a relationship, is it a queer relationship or a gay
relationship?
Right, they would say queer. Why erase lesbian? Why use the word queer instead?
I'm not...
Because you're going to switch back and forth. Because you're not a lesbian, you're a bi bitch. Or you're just straight and needing some sort of attention.
I'm not as uptight with this as you are.
Oh, yeah, I'm so uptight. I wouldn't say uptight, actually. I'd say cunty. I'm cunty about it.
I was trying to save the edits of swear words.
Well, we can bleep it, but I'll just spell it out really. Cunty.
You got anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that was it.
Yeah, that sounds like because I was gonna start closing it out, but
Okay, close it out.
so yeah, good job, Bill. Good job, Bill, because we needed someone to say something.
Finally connecting the dots took you long enough.
Someone with a voice to say something, because people can talk all over YouTube, but that's not getting watched by every American, whereas Bill Maher is being viewed by more Americans. And I think it's important to make the distinction that not everyone on the left is freaking insane. You can be liberal and not agree with transitioning children and not agree with any of the gender ideology bullshit. Which is something we've been saying for a long time. We are liberals and disagree.
I say a little bit more of libertarian. I think I've been leaning more libertarian lately.
Okay, I don't know.
We want less government involvement.
We want less people touching kids. I think that's what it really boils down to.
Fucking with women. Stop doing that.
Taking our spaces, punching us in the face when we're walking down the street. Like, come on.
Make mental asylums great again. Trump should run on that. I'll definitely back him. Like and subscribe.
Join our membership. Ring our bell.